Hi, everybody. I'm BJ Flagg.
And I'm Rich G, and this is episode 332. You don't need another college degree.
And thank you for coming to Small Business Show.
Exactly. So people are going to be surprised that we promote focusing on your career, and we want you to put that advanced college degree on the back burner.
Agreed. There is so many new options out there to expand your knowledge base, and we want to discuss all of those new directions.
Absolutely. It's funny. I mean, it's not that we have anything against the advanced college degree. I think it's great.
No.
But
Yeah.
if you're a small business owner or you work in a small business, sometimes people have that default. Well, I'll just go get my MBA. I'll just go. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe you have to think twice about it. So let's jump into our ideas and expand your mind and your career.
Awesome. Go, Rich.
Our tip number one is, what type of learner are you? And this is one that cuts right to my heart, because
Yes.
I'm going to talk all about this. Be honest with yourself. Imagine your career and your passion as a journey to continually ignite that passion for what you do. Okay. So what kind of learner are you? Are you like an online learner?
Mm-hmm.
Are there certifications you can earn? Do you see a webinar that would help you get to the next level career-wise? Here's a big one. Do you read?
Yes.
I mean, right now I'm reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's new book, Be Useful.
Yeah.
I constantly am reading. And that's a learner. I'm a learner in that way. So think outside the box. You don't necessarily need to enroll in a college and do this. This is you taking charge and expanding your knowledge base. So be logical and deliberate about your learning, but you could do it yourself.
Yeah. And when you think about this, and you're holding that transcript from getting your master's, think of you're creating your own masters. You have an individual plan that you're creating. You need, for your action, build a worksheet that's going to keep track of your lifelong learning process. Outline what you're doing and how long and what you want to get out of the learning for your career and what the costs are. This is going to be invaluable for your future, not just for your present job, but other jobs that are coming along the path. And as Rich always says, as a small business owner, you still want to keep track of all this, because it is an amazing journey. And to get to look back and say, you know what, I took that course, I did that.
Yeah.
And it really gives you confidence.
Yeah, I have. Years ago, I got my advanced degree in coaching with Coach University. Everybody told me, you got to go and get trained, because I just jumped into coaching and I started coaching. So I went to Coach University, which is kind of like a joke, but they're the largest learning institution that pumps out the most coaches. So I went and paid tons of money, spent a year and a half taking all these classes with all these instructors. And at the end, I was like, for me, what a waste of time and money. I was just like, it was a lot of effort. So you really need to understand what kind of learner you are. What kind of...
Oh, yeah. What is it that sparks it? If you think about me, I totally want to learn everything more about Adobe Illustrator. That would be fantastic for me. I'd love that. Hobby. That's a hobby. I run 2 businesses. We do the podcast. I got to focus. I have to focus on what I do now. Your time is your most important asset. You got to be careful with that time. Let me go to number 2. What does your career need to advance? So I'm kind of talking about that when I was talking about Adobe Illustrator. I don't need that to advance. This is a great opportunity to have a conversation with your boss, with your mentor, with the person who's perhaps a little bit more seasoned than you, because they've obviously just been thinking and doing this. They got there because they advanced in their learning. Set up some coffees, pick some brains. How do I advance my career? What is the knowledge that I need to do to get there? They will appreciate that you asked them, and you will appreciate all that great feedback that you can kind of get in your head.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like, what do you need to advance your career? Again, everybody does the default. Well, I'll just go get an MBA, or I'm going to. No, what do you really need? So get some concrete ideas and begin the research in the directions that we've discussed. Each meeting can go on that worksheet that we're talking about. Remember to thank each person and keep them in the loop if you acted on one of their ideas. It's so important.
Oh, yeah, because it is just one constant collection of a web of people who can help you in the future. Rich, take us into number 3.
Yeah, number 3, does your job contribute to alternate learning opportunities? And that's a huge one. Many companies will now pay for alternate learning opportunities. Okay. If you see that there are other opportunities out there, take advantage of them. Keep your ears open. You'll see maybe your peers, people that you work with, your colleagues are taking classes, and talk to them. They say, oh yeah, the company's paying for it. And if it's applied, even if it's a small business, your boss might say, yeah, I'll pay for that if you take that class. If the company has a relationship with a career coach, you could have a session or two. They provide a wealth of insight and what you might need to move forward. It's so true. But learn about like webinars, certifications, add-ons. Every year when I sat down with my boss and they gave me my review, I would say, I'd like you to put away some budget dollars. I'd like to go to this conference. I'd like to take these classes, or like these online classes.
Yeah.
Or I'd like to do these types of things. So I would always ensure, I'd like to buy these books. I'd like to get these magazine subscriptions.
Right.
This was before the internet.
Yeah. But think about what you were telling your boss. I am expanding my knowledge base, and I'm going to be worth more to you, value add, this time next year when you interview me again, when you review me again. So he's psyched. He is psyched. He'll put those budget dollars aside. A great action at this point is to write up an expansive request for all the details about the opportunity. Even if you're in a small business, this is essential. They love the initiative. If you want, they're going to want cost. They're going to want to know how it's going to impact your performance or your career aspirations. This is vital to show interest, to show the excitement of what could be happening.
And by the way, if you do run into that cheapskate boss,
yes,
this is how I dealt with it. When I asked them for these things and they go, well, we really don't have the budget dollars right now. And I would look at him and I would say, yeah, I totally understand. I'm going to pay for it myself. Is it okay if I take the time to do this? Like, I need to take a class. I might need to leave early. I'll pay for it myself. That is a hit in the face of like, oh my gosh. Okay, we'll pay for it.
Yeah, there'll be a little stumbling there. So, be ready for a little negotiation, right? So number 4, can you carve out the time and commit? We are always like totally, immersed in the idea that time is your most important asset. So we always talk about, do you have skin in the game?
Yeah.
Do you kind of want it? What's your level of commitment? What's the level of commitment that's necessary to devote the time and energy to this part of your career enhancement? You have to start, it takes an understanding of the parameters and making the time non-negotiable. This is so important when you want to go get your master's or your doctorate. You're going to do that. You're going to totally carve time away. Just like Rich said, you're going to sit with your boss and say, hey, listen, I want to go get my master's. He's ready for it. He understands it's going to be a cutout. But this is a self-designed path of learning. So you have to take it just as seriously as a guy who's getting his master's. That's where it is.
Yeah, BJ and I were talking about it. I was on I did a Zoom call with an organization last night, and it was something else. It was a curriculum that was recommended to me. And as she started to go through it, it was like, well, we have all these meetings and we have this and we have that. And I started to understand, and in a way, I started to get nervous, anxiety.
Yes.
I don't know if I have the time for that.
I don't know about that.
Because the thing is, again, it's like I'm going to spend money and I'm going to commit. And if I don't commit time to this, that's going to be a problem. I'm wasting money and effort and all this stuff because I'm not going to do it. And I can't tell you, BJ, how many times you probably run into a client once a year that says, yeah, I want to use your services. Let's do this.
Right.
And then you're like, well, you need to, I mean, when you hire a marketing agency, they do a lot of the stuff, but you have to do stuff too. You have to guide them.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, oh, I didn't have time to do that. And
right.
I get about one or two clients a year like that. Like, oh, I don't have time. I paid you all this money, but I don't have time for your coaching. And,
right. And, it'll come up in websites. How long until we have the website? And I'll say 8 to 12 weeks, just depends on when you can provide assets.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, no problem. Can you do it in 4? Absolutely can do it in 4. And what happens?
Yeah.
They don't get the deposit check right away. The guy goes on vacation. He can't get his photographs over to me. The retouch photos are none. This is something that's happened just this week. Yay. So commitment. You got to commit.
Yeah. So the way to commit is to get the learning on your calendar. Map it out, stick with it. Just say every Friday from 9 to 11, I'm going to take a class, or I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to do an online course, and build it into your calendar, map it out, and stick with it. Because the more that you solidify it in your calendar, in your schedule, the more apt you're going to be able to do it. So
absolutely.
So number 5, can you find a learner who can act as your accountability partner? I'm so glad we're doing this one because I've got an accountability partner.
Yes.
This is my favorite question. Can you find a person who also wants to improve themselves, just like you, and will motivate you, and you will motivate them? Right. I have an accountability partner. We just celebrated 4 years.
Wow.
Working together. Every Monday, we talk for 1 hour, and we talk about what did you accomplish? What did I accomplish? What problems are you having? What problems a problem client? Because he's at the same level that I am. And so we talk to one another. Guess how much it costs? Nothing. So you don't have to pay somebody for this. So this is just what can keep you going when the workload seems overwhelming. Okay. With going to work and doing this learning work, you could do it and you'll be better because you have a partner. I mean, when I have an emergency or a critical issue, I'll text him, hey, do you have 5 minutes? He'll go, sure. And he'll do the same to me. Oh, I got this great idea. Can I talk to you about it? Sure.
Yeah.
And it costs you nothing.
Right. And, I often think about the podcast. We wouldn't have gotten to 6 years if we didn't have each other to lean on, to be able to brainstorm. I got an idea for our podcast this week. I threw it over in text to Rich. Rich is like, awesome. Let's get going on it. I put it together. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have such a good accountability partner for this type of thing. So ask in your team at work, who could be maybe your friend circle. There's going to be that person in there that, just like you, wants to make an investment of their time. No slackers need to apply. Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, BJ and I mean, we've been doing this podcast for over 6 years. We never miss a Tuesday. Never, never, never.
Yeah.
And I don't know of a lot of podcasts that do this. They go on vacation, they miss things, they do things. And this was just like, well, let's just try it. And I remember BJ and I announcing it to our BNI group that we're starting a podcast.
Right.
And you got people that were really excited for us, and then you got the people going, "Yeah, that's gonna last like."
Yeah, that's really gonna happen.
Yeah, we're now at episode 332.
Right. Right. So it worked out. Everything came together. Number 6, how do you document what you've done in a coherent way? That's such a struggle word.
Cogent.
Cogent, thanks. Way for your CV. So we're starting to think of, how am I going to use this worksheet? We talked about it, and now it's time to think of it as a transcript. This is invaluable when it comes time to perhaps look for another job, or you're within a small business, so you're looking for advancement, you're looking for ways to do things. You need to make sure that this flows into your CV. The record of how much you have done and invested in your education will be impressive. It's going to be impressive to you. And the fact that, you were that self-motivated, and your learning plan will, be considered thought leadership. They're going to want to know more. You might not have filled in your boss in a while. They're going to be impressed with what you've been able to do.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, and think about it. If you have this worksheet record at the end of the year for your review with your boss, you could say, and oh, by the way, I took this class on Adobe Illustrator. I went and did this on how to manage people, and I did this and I did this. And all of your other colleagues did nothing.
That's right. They went to Cabo.
Your boss is going to look at you like, and here's the best part. If you work for a small company, your boss, the owner, is going to use like, you need to work with Rich. He has experience in this. He just ended up taking a new class on the new Google 4 analytic thing. We're all good on that. They can advertise your abilities to clients and customers.
Oh yeah. And I think the best part about it, like Rich is an insane lifelong learner, guys. Insane. And not right now, this has been going on and torturing me for about 9 months. AI, ChatGPT. Rich is so deep in that he has these conversations with his sons about what you can do and what can happen. But you're in it.
Yeah. I mean, I have one son that's applying for jobs, and he goes, Dad, I got to write a cover letter. What do I do? I say, take the entire job description, plug it into ChatGPT, and say, please write me a cover letter. And it writes a beautiful cover letter for him. But it's not like he does cut and paste. It gives you a starting point to do these things. Very basic emails, I might leverage it. But again, I put it into Grammarly. I personalize it. I always say, when was the last time you did long division on a piece of paper?
Yeah, thank you.
30 years, 40 years? No, you use a calculator. AI is a calculator, and just use it. So getting back to documenting, record. This is for you. And a career coach could help you blend information into your resume. Get a bit under your belt and share your thoughts with the coach. You'll notice that you're having an elevated conversation with them because you could show them, I've learned all this stuff. Right. And it shows people that, because you don't just jump into a job. You need to show them, I have all these certifications. I have taken these classes. I've read these books. Yeah, I know how to use that system. And I'm telling everybody right now, anybody that's listening, start playing with AI, ChatGPT, Bard, Bing. anything that you can do, Grok, which is on Twitter, go play with it, because in another 6 months to a year, it's going to be required. Do you have experience in working with this stuff? And if you go, oh no, I've never played with it. You know?
He has it on. I've got it on my iPhone now.
Yeah.
So it's happening. Rich is pushing me. Hey, tell us about our great book. You're going to love it.
Yeah, we got a great book to devour. We've talked about Adam Grant, his other book, but there's one, Hidden Potential, The Science of Achieving Greater Things. Hidden Potential offers a new framework for raising your aspirations and exceeding your expectations. He weaves together groundbreaking evidence, surprising insights, and vivid storytelling that takes us from the classroom to the boardroom, the playground to the Olympics, and underground to outer space.
I love it. He actually shows that progress depends less on how hard you work, more on how well you learn. Growth is not about the genius you possess. It's about the character you develop.
Genius.
I love Adam Grant because he is just, I love how he weaves in the stories. I love how he just takes us into science, like deep into the science of it all, but then pulls us back with an incredible story.
And he looks like me. That's the best part.
Yes, he does. And that's also a very good point.
He helps you in this book. He helps you build like character skills and motivational structures to realize your potential. So it's motivating you. So it's just a great book.
Yeah, get it. And remember, lifelong learning is a continuous journey. You are capable of advancing your knowledge base and taking control of your future. We'd like to invite you to share your knowledge hacks with us on social media with the hashtag #TheBestSmallBusinessShow.
Thank you for tuning in to the Best Small Business Show. If this episode has been valuable to you, subscribe and share it with other budding entrepreneurs who could benefit.
And that's it for this week. You can reach out to me at newrenew.com, and you can catch Rich at richg.com.
Thanks to our editor and producer, Richard Scalzo. Have an unbelievable week and catch you later.